Hi everyone, and welcome back. I hope you've had a good first week of classes and you're starting to get settled in. Today we've got eclass 1 for Module 2. And Module 2 is designed to give you an overview of social work practice. So for today's class, we're going to be discussing what is social work. Now, the other e-classes in this module will be made available in the coming days, so make sure you're checking your Canvas regularly to get the new classes. To start, I'd like to give you an overview of what will be in today's e-class. We'll start by going over the learning objectives for this session, identify some key terms and ideas that you should be familiar with from Chapter 1. We're going to discuss who are social workers, why we do what we do, and one of our more common approaches to practice. So by the end of this class session, I hope that you've had the opportunity to explore and enhance your understanding of social work. In particular, I hope that you have a stronger grasp on social work's mission and goals, and understand some of the ways that we're currently working to address and achieve these goals. I hope you also have an understanding of why we do what we do, why we care about both individuals and communities in society, and that you are able to identify some key ideas in a strengths-based approach versus a deficits-based approach to practice. These are some key ideas and terms from Chapter 1 that you should be familiar with. So if any of these seem fuzzy or you're not really sure about them, go back and take a look at them and make sure you have a solid grasp on them. This will help you do well on both the quiz and the reflection. So before we go into a little bit more depth about the profession of social work and what social workers do, I'd like you to take a few minutes to really reflect on and think about this question. What images or ideas are invoked when you hear the term social worker? So pause the video, take a few minutes to write down your answers. Then I want you to click on the iCard and watch the video related to social work. Again, alternatively, you can go through this PowerPoint or this e-class and then watch the YouTube videos afterwards. So, as is highlighted in the video, social workers aren't just nice people out there trying to make people feel good. Instead, we're trained professionals with a rigorous curriculum, and we really focus on achieving some specific purposes and goals. And so in the next slide, we're going to go into these in a little bit more detail. So the mission or purpose of social work is to enhance human well-being and help meet the basic human needs of all people. In particular, we work with and empower people who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. And as social workers, we really seek to promote or restore a mutually beneficial interaction between an individual and society in order to improve the quality of life for everyone. So really, as social workers, we work with those who are marginalized and oppressed and really work with them at the individual level, the meso and the macro level. So helping them as individuals, trying to address barriers in community and society as well. Right? The goals of social work are to enhance social functioning of individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. So again, we've got those kind of three levels of practice, micro, meso, and macro. We try to link client systems with needed resources. This is actually a major focus of social work practice, is helping individuals, communities, groups really access the resources that they need to survive and thrive. We also seek to improve the operation of the social service delivery network. So we really get in there and figure out where the gaps in services are, trying to improve them to make sure that the people we work with are well served. And we also really try to promote social justice through development of social policy. This could be at the community level, this could be at the state level, or even on a federal level. So now you may be saying to yourself, that's all well and good, but those are really big challenges. How does social work actually plan to meet those goals? And how will social work know when they have? Well, one of the ways that the profession is working towards addressing our goals and objectives is through the development of the grand challenges. And this effort was led by the American Academy of Social Work, and with input from researchers, practitioners, students, and policymakers, 12 grand challenges were identified. And each of these challenges is a broad but discrete concept that helps us really figure out where social work can make an impact, and that's directly tied into our social work, both our social work mission and our goals. So now I'd like you guys to take a few minutes and think about these questions, and then click on the iCard to go to a video and watch the grand challenges. Alternatively, you can continue on through this e-class and watch the videos afterwards. Again, going back and writing down your answers to these questions after you finish the videos for your journals, because you're going to want to reflect on these questions and these points to ponder in your journals for this first module. So, what is social welfare? Well, first, I think it's important to remember that social work is only one of the professions that's involved in the social welfare system or providing services and supports within the social welfare system. Other professions such as nursing, public health, they're also involved in the social welfare system. And the social welfare system is really an institution that responds to the needs of society and its members for health and education and economic and social well-being. And it's really the first line of support to enable individuals to cope successfully with an often changing economic and social environment, and to really assure the stability and development of social institutions. And so social welfare is really geared towards addressing the general well-being needs of individuals and to also meet the universal needs of the population. And what I think is particularly interesting is that social welfare systems often look very different from country to country. For example, the social welfare system of the US looks very different from that of China, that of England, and that of Switzerland. And so it's really important to think about as you progress through your education, what in our social welfare system works well, and what could we learn from other countries? How could we enhance our system to better meet the needs of individuals and society as a whole? So now that we've looked at the social work profession and how that fits in with the social welfare system, we're going to spend a little bit of time thinking about why social workers do what we do. Now, there are many reasons that as individuals we become social workers. It may be because we're really interested in making change and attacking social justice issues. It may be because we've had experience with social workers in the past, or our friends or family have, and we recognize what a valuable profession social work is. But one of the reasons why we approach our practice in the way we do, I've really divided into kind of three general areas. One is our recognition of the needs of individuals. We recognize that there are flaws and gaps and breaks in our systems and in our society, and people often need help navigating those areas. We also believe in equity and that everyone should have an equal opportunity to access the resources and supports that they need to live the highest quality of life that they can. And as social workers, we also truly believe in the strengths and capabilities of people. These three things really help to kind of focus and guide our work. So, as social workers, we recognize that people have basic needs that must be met in order to help them flourish. And basic needs may be met differently depending on the person and environment that they live in. Now, the basis of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which you see presented in this slide, this is taken straight from your textbook. Anyways, Maslow's schema, the basis for his schema is that human beings are motivated by unsatisfied needs, and that certain lower levels of need must be addressed before an individual can reach those higher levels. So the idea is that we all have needs that we seek to have met. And these include the basic physiological needs, such as food, water, and sleep, safety needs, that we need to feel safe and secure in our environments, whatever that be it home, school, work, etc. That we desire a sense of belongingness and love, meaning that we have emotional and intimate connections with others. Esteem is about a personal feeling of competence and self-worth. So somebody to really, we all want to feel like we can do things, that we are capable. And self-actualization is about growth, realizing one's potential. So seeing your potential and developing a real sense of purpose in life. And that's the highest level. So before an individual can get to developing a self-esteem or self-actualization, these lower levels of needs have to be met. And social workers, that's a lot of where we come in. We might work with an individual at any of these levels, depending on where they are in life, what kind of circumstances they're facing. But part of what we do is always look from kind of the ground up. Are they safe? Are their basic needs met so that we are in a position to really help them move forward? So to further illustrate this, let's look at an example. Now pretend that you're a social worker in a school, and Mary, a fifth grader, is referred to you by her teacher. Now her teacher's concerned because Mary's grades have dropped dramatically in the last few months, and she's become quiet and reserved when she was normally an outgoing and charismatic individual. When you talk to Mary, you find out that her family had been living with an aunt, but that the aunt kicked them out and they're now homeless and occasionally living in a shelter. She tells you it's hard to concentrate on schoolwork when she's hungry and stressed out about where they're going to be living and where they're going to be staying from night to night. And this is an example of a common scenario that a school social worker might deal with. And as you can see, disruptions to basic physiological and safety needs are having an impact on Mary's ability to pursue these higher level needs, such as feeling confident and doing well in school. And so as a social worker, you may work with Mary as well as her family to try to help stabilize the situation. You might look into the community to find housing options, housing vouchers, and things like that. And as Mary says she's often hungry, you may work with the school to provide Mary with meals so that she is at least getting a couple solid meals a day so that she can really have the energy to concentrate on her work. And these are just some of the things that you might be involved in as a social worker. So social work is concerned not only with helping individuals and groups grow and flourish, but we also care about ensuring a just society where everyone has an equitable opportunity to access the resources that they need to live a high quality of life. And from an empowerment perspective, the idea is that a just society is one in which all members share the same rights to resources and benefits, and that in turn they have the same opportunities to contribute to society. Hence, everyone has equal opportunities to be fully engaged within our societies, our communities. And to do that, that means that everyone has to have an equal and fair access to social institutions, laws, resources, and a variety of opportunities. And this access has to be without limitations that are based on observed or interpreted things such as age, color, culture, physical or mental disabilities, education, gender expression, income, language, national origin, race, religion, or sexual orientation. And we'll be going into social justice and the isms in more detail in the other class session in this module, as well as later class sessions. But what this really means is that to have a just society, we can't discriminate against people based on their age, their race, their gender, all of the isms. Because when we do discriminate, we do deny access to those social institutions, to laws, to resources, to all the things that people need to really live a happy and high quality of life. So social work is really concerned with addressing these issues, really tackling these isms, trying to break down oppression, societal barriers, whether they be systemic within the system, within our policies, our laws, or at the social level in terms of how we talk. The language that we use to describe someone. Social work is involved in all of these levels to really help create a better society where everybody can be included. In addition to caring about individuals and society, another reason why we do what we do as social workers is because we believe in the strengths and capability of individuals. So this is more of the philosophical side of why we do what we do. Now, social work is really guided by empowerment theory and the strengths perspective. And we're going to discuss empowerment theory in more detail in future classes. So for this class, I want us to go into a little more depth on the strengths perspective. And the strengths perspective holds that every individual, group, family, and community has strengths. Second, it sees that trauma and abuse, illness and struggle, while these may be injurious, there are also opportunities for growth and change. And social workers should never assume that they know the upper limits of the capacity of an individual, that we should realize that people are fully capable of growing and changing, and we should take their goals and aspirations seriously. Fourth, social workers best serve clients by collaborating with them. We believe that individuals are the experts of their own lives, and that it's through working together that we can best come up with opportunities and solutions to approach problems. And finally, we believe that every environment is full of resources. That with some creative thinking, we can help individuals find opportunities that will help them meet their goals. The strengths perspective is also really important to think about, and as an orientation to practice, as a guide for why we do what we do, because it provides an important counter to deficit-based thinking. Now, deficit-based thinking, prior to really our adoption of the strengths perspective in social work, formed the main focus of practice, and it still does in many fields. And so deficit-based thinking really focuses on the diagnosis and the treatment. It focuses on what's wrong or broken. It highlights past problems or past failures, and in it the person's seen as incapable, unable to grow. And really, in this case, the professional, the social worker, the nurse, whoever, would be developing a treatment plan for the individual by themselves, right, without any consultation or input from the individual. On the other hand, the strengths perspective focuses on the goals and aspirations of individuals. It looks at what's working for the individual and how we can build on that. So it highlights past successes. What's worked well before? Can we model that? Can we repeat that? Can we access those resources to really help the person through the current situation? And with a strengths-based approach, we see the person as capable. We believe they're capable of growing. They're capable of meeting their goals. And we really work with them in collaboration to achieve those goals. So what does the strengths perspective look like in practice? Well, let's take a minute and look at your strengths. I want you to read through these questions and pause the video and write down your answers. And go ahead and reflect on these in your journal at the end of the module. So I want you to identify a goal. It can be any goal. It can be academic, it can be social, it can be one that, oh gosh, I would never do this, but I want to go bungee jumping. It can be whatever you want. So identify that goal. Then think about the current strengths and skills that you have right now that could help you achieve that goal. All right, then I want you to think about who do you have as a social contact that could help you achieve that goal. And I want you to think about what resources are available in your community that could help you achieve that goal. And again, pause this video and write down your answers. So now that you've completed a basic strengths assessment, like one that a social worker might use to help figure out the best way to help work with a client, we're going to move on to looking at what's coming up. So if you haven't already, go ahead and complete the self-assessment activities in the module. Don't forget to complete the special e-topic class for this week. Now next week, you're going to be working through the eclass and the choose your own adventure activity. And remember, don't forget to record your scores on the self-assessment and your thoughts and feelings as you work through these e-classes and these activities, as these will help you complete the critical reflection journal. So the more work you do up front and writing down your thoughts and feelings as you go through these activities, the easier it will be to complete that journal. All right, I look forward to seeing you in our next class.